How's it going, guys? My name is Ty, and I have Gabby here with me, and we are Weddings Made Perfect podcast. This is the 10th episode, so you have listened to us for hopefully 9 episodes before this. But yeah, this is big number 10. We're still here, about 2.5 months into this awesome journey. We have some really cool, interesting ideas for you. Gabby and I, a couple days ago, we actually sat down and wrote about 6 months worth of content. So we have some crazy ideas, some really cool ideas, some just different type of techniques and different things that we're going to be talking about, and also kind of different tips as well. But yeah, we are going to be in this for the long run. So definitely hit that sub button, hit that like button, hit that follow button, whatever type of button it needs to be, definitely hit it. We're on YouTube. As always, obviously YouTube is probably one of our biggest platform currently right now. We also are on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Anchor.fm is our host, so you could probably listen to us on there if needed. But yeah, we are, doing our thing. We're just kind of enjoying it as we're going through it. We've learned a lot so far. I mean, I've learned a lot. This is like the most I've been writing since back in college. So it's been definitely like getting back into that trend of things, which is kind of cool. I really do enjoy writing these episodes for you guys. Yeah, there's some really cool knowledge. We're kind of getting to the point now where I'm learning more now as opposed to like teaching you guys stuff, because I've definitely hit most of the topics that I like know on the top of my head. And now I actually have to do research. So it's been a little interesting. It's been good, but like it's definitely good. So like I said, guys, if you guys have any topics or ideas or just want to talk to us in general, you could definitely email us at weddingsmadeperfectpodcast@gmail.com, or you could comment on our YouTube page, comment on our Facebook page or Instagram page will pop up. Just type it in to say, hey, Ty, this is what's going on. Or, hey, Gabby. Like, there's different ways to get a hold of us. We would love to do an email segment of you guys. If you guys are getting married, that's coming up, or you guys are married and just want to tell a really cool story, or you guys have an idea for our episodes that you want to listen to, or just kind of go more deep dive into a certain topic, definitely give us an option for that. And we'll definitely do it for you guys. But like I said, today is episode 10. We're going to go through a DIY, so do it yourself type of podcast here. We were talking about this a couple of podcasts ago where we needed to just do it. And so now we're just kind of buckling down and doing it. So this might be a little bit of a longer podcast episode. So definitely hold tight, sit back, and just enjoy it. If you want to grab those note and pen, definitely do it. But as I'm saying this wonderful spiel, we do have a wonderful sponsor from the Gabby.
Yes, we do. Weddings Made Perfect podcast is sponsored by ND Events, LLC. ND Events is a St. Louis-based events company that specializes in photography, videography, DJ, and photo booth services, as well as officiant and event planning and coordination services. You can find ND Events at ndevents.com. That's ENDY events.com. You can also find them on Facebook and Instagram at ND Events.
Yeah, so go check them out.
I also have a tip for you today, Tyler.
All right, let's hear it.
As always, it coordinates with our topic. You know, I love to coordinate. So today's tip is create or purchase a jar, bottle, vase, etc., or set for your bridesmaids and your own bouquets at the head table. So especially if you've got real flowers and you're going to want to keep them for a while, this is something you might not think about until it's too late. And you all sit down for dinner and you don't have anywhere to put this giant bouquet. So a lot of different couples and stuff have been like creating from like a wine bottle, maybe if the stems can fit in the top, or just getting like classic vases with some water in there to kind of refresh your flowers, and so that you can be hands-free and just eat your dinner in peace. So that's a really good idea.
It definitely also helps you out with the theme as well with that. So if you're doing more like a barn or more like that type of, I guess, aesthetic style, definitely find some larger mason jars or just something like that is kind of cool. If you're going for more contemporary, of course, definitely find some more like wine bottles or just something that's more decor wise. You can do literally anything with those. I've actually seen multiple people, they'll grab the bottles and like spray paint the color or like paint the color of their theme, or they do some sort of Cricut, whatever that is.
Yeah, or make it
vinyl
personal.
thing. Yeah.
Write your bridesmaids' names on there.
So there's so many just different options for you to just create it the way, instead of you having just to buy like $30-$40 vases and call it done. Like there's other ways to like actually, do that in a certain way. So
to start, I think we should really outline kind of what should be DIY'd for a wedding and also what shouldn't be. So I know a lot of people think that they can, DIY anything and make it great, but there are a lot of moving parts to a wedding, and there are a lot of things that unless you're an expert in the field, it's probably not a good idea to DIY it. So some good topics of things that you should maybe try and DIY would be things like your invitations or other paper items. Excuse me. Some ideas of what would be really good to DIY, good ideas to DIY would be things like your invitations or other paper items, your ceremony and reception decor. This particular list included fashion accessories. I don't know if I would particularly put that on there unless you are a very talented seamstress. They were talking about DIYing like a bow tie, and I mean, unless you know how to do that, probably best to buy that one as well.
Yeah, and those are kind of hard because like I know there's tailors that I used to work with at Men's Warehouse. They actually could take an actual tie and cut it down to an actual bow tie, but it takes years to realize how to do it. I mean, you could tie an actual tie as a bow tie, but it's going to be one of those like fat knots.
Yeah.
Which if you don't like fat knots, then like it's not going to be like a thing for you to do. But there are ways to do it if you are wanting to do a bow tie. But definitely, those are kind of one of those things where it's like definitely just pay for the money if you want to get a customized bow tie or a tie, even in general. So.
Yeah, one thing, fashion accessory wise that a friend of mine is actually doing is she's having a really good friend make her jewelry for the bridesmaids, and they're all going to be like custom and kind of gifts to the bridesmaids too, and then they'll all be uniform. So like if you have a hand of jewelry, like that could be a really good idea and a really good gift idea for your bridesmaids as well. But other than that, I'd maybe leave it to the professionals. But other things that are a good idea to DIY would be your party favors as well. This is a really good time and area to get creative, kind of make it personal to, I would say, your personality as well as best you can, and kind of the guests that you have coming. So know your audience. And then lastly, another good DIY is your wedding website. And we're going to get into that a little bit later. But some topics of what to not DIY would include your music, first and foremost. It's easy to say, hey, let's just set up Spotify and leave it going. But when you're having dinner, a DJ is able to read the room and kind of know to play like some softer music and play it at a level where your guests can interact and talk to each other without having to shout at one another. And then when it's, time to go, time to party, they know when the music starts dying down or, the dance floor starts dying down a little bit, to play something a little more upbeat. If you just have 17 upbeat songs, no slow dances, or you put in a slow dance right when people are at the tip top of the party, then it's just not going to work out quite as well as if you had a professional handle it for you.
Like what we keep trying to say, like there are going to be certain things in the wedding where like you can do it if you really want to, but it only would work if it's like a different type of atmosphere. So if you're doing like a small intimate wedding, that's just going to be like you, yourself, a couple of like family members and like some buds, like that, and then that's it. And like in the backyard or whatever, it's a little bit easier to kind of do kind of everything yourself in a way. But when we're talking about like DIY, we're talking about more the budget factor of things that are are definitely easier for you to do on your own without having to hire somebody else. So meaning like the centerpieces, for example, the mugs or the stuff to put the bouquets in or something, or you doing certain like flower things, or just anything in general that involves more crafty as opposed to a service. That's where we're kind of hitting. Mm-hmm. So for example, like these days, there seems to be a notion that are not hiring a wedding planner or a day of coordinator, especially given the amount of DIY weddings decorations out there. If you fall under this umbrella of decor savvy or budget friendly couples who want to tackle the planning process independently, prepare to be the best temporary wedding planner your ceremony will ever see. To make your life a heck of a lot easier, we rounded up several DIY weddings decorations that you and your partner can easily and elegantly pursue for those big days. And so what we're trying to do is like we've came up with some cool DIY projects, but also some just end quotient of things that you may want to be able to look at that's more on the craftier side and not the service side.
It's a good specification. So the next one, the next service you would definitely not want to DIY is your food, obviously, unless you're, a spectacular caterer yourself and you have lots of hands to help. It's much better just to leave it to the professionals, and they include cleanup most of the time, which is super helpful and makes everything way easier. And you don't want to be cooking the day before your wedding like a crazy person, just trying to prepare everything and get it ready. So that's another one you definitely probably don't want to DIY, as well as your obviously photography and videography. You can always have your cousin take the photos if you want, but just understand they're probably not going to be the same quality, the same, they aren't going to have the same eye that maybe a professional photographer will have. A lot of packages come with 2 photographers, and this is really helpful for, when you guys separate to get ready, different angles of the ceremony, all that good stuff. And, if you have your cousin do it, then they're not going to be enjoying the wedding quite as much as, they would be in their seats just being a guest. So that's something to keep in mind as well.
The only thing that I would honestly suggest you to do like video that involves like DIY is maybe like GoPro or like POV shots of like whatever you guys doing. There was a little trend that was happening recently where they would mount a GoPro on a Fireball bottle.
Oh.
And so they were doing like a compilation video of like literally a point of views of people taking shots of Fireball like throughout the wedding like reception or like throughout the day. So like that's a really cool idea. I definitely do that yourself. Unless you don't want to worry about it, then definitely just ask your videographer, like, hey, do you have like a GoPro that we could potentially do this or something like that? And they'll gladly be able to do it. But yeah, there's little minor things you can kind of do that I guess it is yourself in a way, which is a kind of cool idea. But other than that, though, definitely it's a service. So definitely like make sure that you actually hire a proper person that's doing it, because you don't want to, at the end of the day, even if you have a wedding planner, there's still moments of the day that you're sitting there and just like a little stressed out on whatever, because you're literally building a production day. You got to think of it as like a play or like a whatever type of day where it is structured for like an event. So you have a certain timeline to get everything done. You have people to make sure that they're entertained and they're, fed. You have, yourself to worry about yourself as well. Like throughout the whole day, there are so many other things to think about besides making sure you have the GoPro set up, or Aunt Susie is taking photos of everybody or stuff like that. You want to make sure that you have people that you hire that service-wise that will take care of everything. But for yourself, though, definitely to minimize the amount of like money being spent and keeping your budget pretty much to how it is DIY certain crafty things to get done. So.
Yep. And so the first topic that we're going to kind of touch on is invitations. So this is, again, a really good idea to kind of DIY yourself. There are plenty of websites that can help you with this. Canva, Zola, The Knot, Zazzle, Shutterfly, and many, many more. There are so many websites out there that can help you with this. And they also are able to print those and ship them to you as well. So while it's not exactly you making the invitation yourself, and of course you can if you have your own postcards and you'd like to do it that way, it definitely can cut down on the cost just to have it design it yourself and then have them shipped to your house. You can get very personal with this. You can get a personalized stamp from Etsy or others with your name and wedding date in like a pretty font or something that will keep all of your invitations very uniform and gorgeous. You can also add a ribbon or use a shape cutter or paint or seal it with wax, etc., to make it really personal as well.
Yeah, definitely do like the waxing. I think those are so cool. You can actually customize it where you have like a your what's it called? The can't think. Stamping of the last name, like the letter of your last name.
Yeah.
Like the
seal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's just so cool. Like I don't know why I'm like I can't find my words for this for some reason. But yeah, it's just that I just think it's so cool because it's like it's something personalized, but also like it's not really done anymore. Like everything is so digital now that when people get something that's actually like handheld, like personally done,
Yeah.
like well done, and like just something that they could hold and could keep, it still has that kind of like heirloom factor of it
Yeah.
where like you want to keep it, you want to use it. And like it sounds weird, but like ever since I could remember, like I still to this day, I have this huge bucket of birthday cards that I've saved. And like I don't throw those away because like somebody took their time or money to buy something and write something, even if it's just simply just says happy birthday, like they took a moment of their day or time to be able to give me something and write something. And like, I'm not going to throw that away. So I literally have this huge thing. And like every single year, I get them, I'll read them, and then like, I'll just throw them in there and just keep them. And like, I don't sit there and like read them all, but like they're at least though, like anybody knows that if they give me a birthday card or a Christmas card or like whatever type of card that associates just me in general, I will throw it in there. And so it's just like this, like you don't like the littlest thing that you could do could go like so far for people and make their day, and they'll definitely cherish it and will keep it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you never know if you might see your save the date on your grandma's fridge for the next 5 years, and then it better look good if it's going to be up there for another 5 to 10.
yes.
The next topic we're kind of going to touch on here is ceremony and reception decor. So this is like a very broad topic. I'm sure if you've been anywhere on Pinterest, you know that there are a million trillion ideas that you can DIY for your wedding. We're just going to touch on a few of our favorites and kind of I think the winners in my eye anyway. But the first one I have is to first check your local buy, sell, trade Facebook groups. A lot of brides will get rid of the stuff that they either rented or bought on those websites, and you can get them for really cheap, and you can get like a lot of stuff for really cheap. So that's a good idea there. Okay, so another idea is to save old bottles, jars, etc., and use generously throughout your whole venue. Something I really think is fun and unique is to not make every single centerpiece the same. So if you have several different like glass bottles, say they're all clear, don't make every centerpiece like exactly the same. When you look out visually at the entire reception area and you see all these different levels and just creations and stuff, it makes it really personable, but also like really unique and fun. Another good idea is to stain an old piece of wood and paint your names, your dates, any important notes, such as like, this is an unplugged ceremony, or here's the cards and gifts table so that people know where to go, or here's our seating chart for you to help find your seat. These are all really good ideas that you can use, just, something you might have laying around in the garage. Another good idea is to scatter as many tea lights, candles as possible, but don't burn down your venue. Please don't burn down your venue.
It's just a very easy, like intimate thing for the tea lights. You could put them in the little like, they actually float, which is really cool. So like what you could do is you could have like a little tower, like glass jar thing, fill it up with water and have one just kind of like float on the top. So it's just little small things that kind of make it even more like elegant without even trying.
Yeah. Again, when you look out at the entire venue and reception area, you're going to see those lights at different levels all around, and it's going to be really kind of intimate and magical in a way. Another good idea is to dress up your chairs. So I know there's a lot of rental places that you can get like the linens that all match on your chairs. But this is something you could probably stand a DIY. Go to Joann's Fabrics, pick out a fabric that really matches your reception area, and I can guarantee it's probably going to cost you less just to buy it than it will to rent them out, possibly, depending on your price and your style. And then after that, you can always go on those buy-sell trades and resell those if you really wanted to. You could also use a small bundle of flowers I saw on top of the fabric. Just wrap it around with some twine and tie it back there, and it can make for a really unique setup that maybe a lot of people don't see generally at weddings that they attend. Another good idea is to kind of have a remember table with pictures of your family or your the past relatives you've had, just to kind of say, hey, you're not here, but you're not forgotten, and it makes it really personable as well, and your family would probably really appreciate that too. Another good idea is to set out. You can make handmade games such as cornhole or washers if you have an outdoor wedding, just to keep people entertained, especially during cocktail hour if you guys are off taking pictures or something. And that makes it really fun for your guests as well. And the last idea I personally have is to glue together, this is actually kind of a weird one, but it looked really cool when I saw it online. Glue together dollar store frames in a box and paint them either gold or black. And when the box is finally created, it looks almost like a lantern. So you can put a really big candle in the middle, and they're unique little candles or lanterns, and they're pretty cool too. So
I'm going to run down a couple ideas as well, just to kind of go through everything for the ceremony reception they could kind of do, and also in between cocktail hour and stuff like that as well. These are also just very basic DIY projects that you were never really thought about that you could potentially use to even make it better. This is also hitting maybe the theme you're looking for, or a different aesthetic you're looking for, or just things that are a little more affordable. There are a lot of flower arrangements which could be a little pricey, but you got to understand though, you don't have to get real flowers. So you go to Michael's, you could go to Hobby Lobby, you go to Joann. Joann's is more fabric, but you could go to more of the crafty stores wherever you are. That because I know here we at least have Michael's and Hobby Lobby, but you go to certain places that have fake flowers and create different floral arrangements cheaper than buying real ones. Yeah. And also they last.
Yeah.
So,
and you can find those on the buy-sell trades as well.
Yeah. And which is perfect because people are going to always look literally anybody is trying to resell certain wedding stuff. There are ways to make it more affordable. But yeah, I'm talking about affordable flowers, arrangement, table runners, centerpieces, decorations for reception, everything you can think of, lights and all that. I'm going to go through it. These are objects that you may not thought about doing a DIY for. So I'm not saying you have to do all of these. I'm just saying that these are just options that you could do to arrange certain things. So I'm going to kind of shoot them out really quickly. So the first one is, of course, bouquets. Definitely bouquet arrangements. Like I said, going to Hobby Lobby or Michael's and creating your own bouquets and different things you could do to make it and personalize it and mix the way that you want to mix. You could do different ribbons on it or whatever you need to do to make it more your style or your theme or color. So that's one thing to do. Boutonnieres, those are the flowers that guys wear on their suits. Create those. You don't have to buy them at your nearest flower your flower store or anything like that. You're able to create your own bouquets. Once again, all you have to do is just find a little rose or whatever it is and a little ribbon, and then just put a little pen and you can pen your people, then you're all good. So that's another thing. If you have the little ones, little flower girls, something like that, make them a flower crown. You get a little vine of a flower at Michael's or Hobby Lobby. Like I said, I'm not sponsored by them at all. This is not sponsored by them, but they're a craft store, so definitely check it out. But create them a crown. So if you are doing more a flory wedding of some sort, have your flower girls or the little ones that are a part of, make a little crown for them. If you have your pets involved, make their own collar for the wedding. Have it maybe a theme or a style that involves it. Not too heavy though. I'm not asking you to put something really heavy on your dog, or cat or whatever, definitely make sure that it is friendly for them to have and it's not going to hurt them. There's another thing that people may not even think about is lay out a comfort station. And when I mean comfort station, I mean at the end of the day, there are girls that are, there's wedding party or the bridal party or just girls that are going there for enjoyment are probably wearing high heels or some sort of shoes that are not comfortable. A cool way or a cool idea to do is buy some just very cheap $1, flip-flops and throw them in a little basket. And what they could do is they could wear flip-flops instead of having to be, having to have bare feet or just, they don't feel comfortable doing that. Like they could just throw on some like flip-flops and just be comfortable with that. Or, have a station with like little blankets or if it's potentially raining, have some like umbrellas just in case, or just little snacks or whatever. Like have something that involves some sort of comfort for people. Also, what a great thing to design is a beverage station during cocktail hour. People are going to be thirsty or wanting some sort of snack of some sort. So instead of having to pay for a bar, you could have like a drinking station, buy the huge jugs and create your own like water infused type of drinks. Like have one that's cucumber, one that's strawberry, one that's lemon or whatever. Like do something that, follows your style. But at the same time though, you don't have to buy like a bar. Like you could do it your own. Wedding signs. Once again, you could go on Etsy or do whatever, and you could buy whatever you want. But honestly, the best way to do it is create your own. Wedding sign could be used for like introducing people to come into the ceremony or the reception. Really cool idea or technique that I've been seeing recently is people are getting old mirrors and finding the wall paint and putting some sort of calligraphy on the actual mirror, saying like James and Ashley's wedding, or saying some sort of quote or something like that. Like you could do anything you want. Wedding seating chart. When you're going into the reception, your guests may not know where to sit. So instead of you putting it just on a little piece of paper on a table, which there's 20 of them, instead of them walking around, have no idea where they're sitting, make a wedding chart, like a wedding seating chart. Put it in front of the door right before they walk into the reception. And that's how they'll be able to literally, find their names. And it's an easier way to do it, and also customize it the way you want to customize it. You could literally just buy a really nice, board. And if you have somebody that's really good with calligraphy or just wanting to print out certain things, you could make it, nice and great for that. If you have little ones that are walking down the aisle and they are not able to walk, fashion a wagon out. Like instead of, just using a basic wagon, like a red wagon, create one. Like do different ideas to associate with the theme you're going for. Also baskets. If there's a certain flowers centerpiece or whatever, instead of doing that, maybe you want to do a basket of some sort, and that might be a easier way to do. Wedding program templates. Once again, this will be a great idea to look at Zola. They're kind of one of the only, they're not the only option, but they're definitely one of the highest options to use is Zola or the Knot. They're both great sources to make wedding templates for your save the dates, your invitations, or whatever. They are easy to, they're very, simplified for user-friendly people. So definitely I would say doing that. Or you could go on Etsy. They're average around like $9 if you want to go on Etsy, but I don't really know like what they are potentially for Zola or the Knot. So definitely check that out. Ceremony backdrop. So instead of you having to find a mountain or an ocean, like create your backdrop or just have like a theme or texture of a backdrop. So if there's, if you're trying to go to a location that you may want, but it's a little bit too pricey, why don't you create something that involves a certain backdrop that you may want, or just have like a different texture or theme, like I said. This also involves with arches for the ceremony, like create your actual arch. You could do So like, for example, if you don't know what I'm talking about, a lot of people, what they'll do is like a bride and groom for their ceremony, they're like under this like arch thing, which traditionally done for certain like religions, they'll have it for like a little like a temple or something. But recently what people have been doing is like a little floral like arch or some sort. Create something, like do something that involves you to have more, control of it. Also, aisle decor. When you're in the ceremony, have like flowers, like by row, have like a flower like on a chair or like a ribbon or a bow or just, something that involves your theme is a great thing to do. If you kind of want to go for like a more vintage look, maybe think about doing some like vintage rugs, like find some like thrift shop rugs where you could create like a row or an aisle down, down the main aisle as you're walking down if you're doing it like outside or something like that. There's, different ways to create that type of vintage look if you are going for that realm. Exit toss. Recently, it's only been rice, but recently that's actually bad because it's actually bad for birds. Did you know that? When you throw dry rice?
Oh, because they'll eat it and choke?
Yeah. Definitely try to avoid rice, but definitely do like more like eco-friendly stuff like bubbles or flower petals or something like that. Like do something that's not evolving to hurt.
Yeah. Like confetti, like that'll be all over the street, all over the ground. That's not a good idea either.
Definitely do like bubbles or like a rose petal or some
Even
sort.
Some seeds would be kind of a good idea too.
Yeah. Display drinks and ice. Literally you could do it not only just like you could buy barrels, you could get like these cool buckets. Recently what I've been seeing is people pulling up like vans and like making basically like the trunk with like covering like with blankets and like flowers and stuff like that and just putting it on there. That's kind of like a more outdoor wedding, but that's just kind of it. That's kind of what the direction is. There's a lot of people kind of getting out doing a wedding outside, but it just gives you different options to do it than just like a basket of ice and whatever. Like it's giving you more options. Also, if you want to do like an outdoor kind of more barn wedding, kind of do a barrel bar where you actually have a barrel as an actual bar and you're just, doing that type of style for the aesthetic of a barn. Greenery or like drapes, definitely find some more, I'm trying to think of the word. Garland, that's what I was looking for. Try to find like garland and stuff like that. It's a little bit more of an affordable thing to use. You could also use that for like, you could definitely use a garland as like a table runner instead of like an actual little fabric one. You could definitely, if you want to do more like a flower style. So that's definitely an option that you could do. You could also do a direction. So like if you're doing like an outdoor wedding or if you're doing one that is at a place that has like different buildings, definitely have like a direction of some sort of like, this is where the reception is, this is where the ceremony is at, this is where you get your bar and drinks and stuff like that. Little ways goes. Gabby hit this, but I'm definitely hitting this again. Personalized lawn games. Like definitely make sure that you are creating stuff that may be interesting for your guests to play. Like she said bags, or she calls it cornhole, but up in Chicago we call it bags. And maybe like you get like a large Jenga set or whatever like that. There are different things you could do that involves games that would keep them entertained. And also if you have little ones, they're not going to be running around inside, they'll be outside. Definitely you could do like old school vintage like furniture if you want to go from that more style. If you are a wine drinker, definitely use those corks from your wine bottles. You could definitely use that as like placements for like cards for people, to sit down at, or like for the head table for like, your bride groom cards and then like everybody's name. You could actually like, cut open like a little slit and then just put it there, and then it'll be a really cool like idea of doing it. We also hit the wax seals. Once again, those are super cool. I don't know why they're cool. I think it's just because of the vintage style of it. I really like it. Let's see here. You could do a photo booth backdrop. So definitely if you're wanting to have a place for them, if you don't want to get a photo booth, definitely this is a time where you could at least have a backdrop where they could go with their phones and have some sort of like backdrop that has like your theme or style. That's a really cool idea to do. Also, what's really cool is maybe getting like polarized cameras or disposable cameras if you kind of want to go for that aesthetic where they could like have like a take home thing. So instead of you having to print, you could just do one of those polarized cameras that will get it out instantly, or you could just do a disposable one. Let's see here. Definitely a visual guest book is really cool. This is also getting really popular too, where like it's kind of backboning off the whole polarized. What they'll do is when a guest comes in, instead of signing like an actual book, what they'll do is they will take a photo or a selfie of themselves with a polarized camera, and then actually will glue or tape the photo that they took onto a booklet. And so when at the end of the day, the bride and groom will see all of the photos of their guest, and they can see, who's been a part of it.
That's a unique idea. I like that.
Print your own menus. So you may not want to, cook, or like you definitely want to have like a service of a caterer or something like that. But it'd actually be kind of cool to at least create a menu that's how people could see what they're gonna have for dinner. Even if it's a buffet, it'd be really cool just to have like a menu thing at their table going like, okay, so this is what we're having. We're having, this type of starch, this type of veggie, this type of protein, and it just kind of gives them a chance to like read it through while they're waiting. So that's a really cool idea.
It's a great idea to include ingredients on there as well, because some people are allergic to some foods.
Like me with peppermint. String lights. Those are really cool, a sick way to do stuff like that. You could also customize labels. So if you have a bottle of wine of some sort, you could definitely actually customize your own label if you really want to, or just different labeling for certain reasonings. Banners are getting really popular, and also neon lights are getting really popular. So I've been seeing that where they will actually get a person to create a neon light for them, like as their last name or something like that, to hang above the head table. Or they'll just have a banner, which either way, both works. I think both are great. So definitely, do like that. Outline your dance floor. So even though most venues will have like a section where you just kind of know like this is the dance floor, definitely like emphasize it, because there are moments of the day or night where, unless your entire family or friends are like very outgoing, there's a weird awkward start of like people dancing and like when we should start dancing and whatnot. So if you create an atmosphere that kind of is more inviting for them to go to that dance floor, you will start having more people actually enjoy that, as opposed to forcing people to actually do it. So how to do that is like, have like balloons or draping, or like have like a little canopy tent or some sort to like have them like be able to understand like, okay, this is where it is. Use lanterns, use candles. Well, not candles, maybe like electronic candles, but not like flammable candles, because that would be bad. But like, once again, if you have a pole, use garlands, use certain flowers of some sort to like use it. If you're outdoors, decorate the trees. Like there's ways to put like little lighting or little like,
paper lanterns hanging would be gorgeous.
like do certain things that will involve you doing that. For example, also your desserts. You don't need a cake. There is not a rule of thumb or different rules as saying that you have to have a wedding cake. You don't. There's not. So bake a pie. Have ice cream. Cookies, donuts, bagels, whatever. Literally, you could get whatever you want for dessert. There is no rules that says you have to have a wedding cake. So I advise you to bake a pie or, bake some brownies, or do something that describes you as a person or couple for, certain things. Like, for example, I don't really like cake. I like ice cream cake, but I don't
I was
really,
waiting for that.
I don't like cake.
If
Like,
you go to Tyler's wedding, there's gonna be ice cream cake.
yeah, from Cold Stone.
From Cold Stone Creamery.
Please sponsor me.
He's really wanting you to sponsor us, if you could.
No, but
I'm tired of hearing about it.
have you had Cold Stone?
I've had Cold Stone. I can't say I've had their ice cream cake. I'm missing out, apparently.
You're missing out. So I know this is really long, guys, but I only have like 2 more and then we'll be all good. Cake toppers definitely would be a great thing to do instead of you having to do the traditional guy and girl or guy or girl, like just standing there, just holding hands or whatever. Like, I emphasize you to do something different.
My best friend in October, she's getting married at a place that actually allows llamas on the property and you can have them rented out. And so she's ordered off of Etsy 2 llamas, like small llamas that have like a boutonniere and like the veil and everything. It's going to be so cute. Such a good idea.
Yeah, I just I like those. I like the Star Wars things or Harry Potter things.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a nerd. So like do something with it. I've seen Lord of the Rings. I mean, I don't want the typical guy and girl or guy or girl just standing there holding hands. Like, make it whatever you want.
Unique.
Like, just make it unique. Put, last names or whatever. Like, I don't know. Just do something else. like little fireworks or something, or,
That's a good idea, too.
or just little sparklers or something. Like, once again, the DIY favors. This is kind of more like a take home object for your guests, saying like, thank you so much for coming. Like, we appreciate you guys. Create something nice. Like, it doesn't have to be.
This is a great opportunity.
Very pricey.
To get creative and personal too. I found a lot of ideas on this actually. The first one I found was just like a lot of treats. So like somebody made homemade apple butter or like jam or cookies or treats or candy, something that like, that they're going to eat. Like, they'll use it. It's not a waste. Especially like the jam and stuff. Like you can take that home and use that for months. So that's a really creative idea too. Another one I've seen is always like the classic, the Hangover Cure with Advil and waters and all that good stuff too.
It's really big with like jams, jellies, honeys, cookies, more like dessert stuff. Also, if you're like a coffee lover, I know I went to a wedding with one of my friends that was getting married, who was a barista. They gave coffee grounds or coffee.
What a good idea.
So like there were the small little like sleeves that had like their like a print of like their name and then like when they got married. But then they gave coffee beans. And so everyone went home with that and like it was really good. It was a special blend that he was actually able to create. But like it could be like little things. It could be doesn't have to be too crazy or nothing, but it's just some cool ideas for you to literally do.
Someone put together a cocktail, pretty much like, a little airplane shot, the additional mixer, and then like fresh and like herbs and fruits and stuff, so that when you go home later, you can actually make a cocktail. Or I also saw like mini champagne bottles too that you can put your label on and include your names, your wedding date. I saw treats for pups. So like pretty much everyone and their brother has a dog these days.
I don't either,
and I wish I did. I will at some point, but this can be like a really great idea too, to say like, hey, you got to eat here, but here's a little treat for your pup at home. And I also saw small succulent plants, or like little plants that will last a long time. Just every time they see it too, they're going to think about your day and how great it was, and that's something that'll last a long time. I also saw koozies and sparklers, and also the last one I thought was really clever and cute. Give away a family recipe, like one you can part with and are okay with everyone knowing the ingredients, but that's something really unique, I think, that, someone may not expect when they're going, but they get like this fantastic like lasagna recipe. That'd be a really cool idea too.
Definitely have like a sample though. That's how they can like try and see it. But no joke though, you actually sparked something. I I haven't really told anybody this. I don't know if I told you this or not, but I've been keeping this pretty secret. So what I'll do is, of course, I'm a cinematographer, so I shoot a lot of weddings. So most of the weddings that I do, they have koozies. So what I'll do is I'll take one, of course, just for myself. But what I want to do is I'm compositing so many of them where I want to, on my wedding, have a whole bucket of all
Other
of these,
people's
of
koozies?
all of these koozies that I've
Oh my
that
gosh.
I've gotten for the past years of shooting weddings, so people could use
And
that.
that'll be so funny and unique.
Well,
too.
I already have 50. So that's what
crazy.
I'm saying is it's
Yeah.
like I already have 50 of them, and it's a huge bucket of them just at home, just random ones and stuff like that. And the funny ones which is not really funny, but the funny ones are the 2020 ones from last year.
Yeah.
It was the whole pandemic. Well, we're still under pandemic, but like the whole pandemic where they had their initial date, and they like cross it off, and then they have the newer date.
Oh,
so there was
no.
one that had like 3 of them, like just like back to back to back.
And they just took a Sharpie and just lined
They took
through it.
like one of those gel things that the
Fabric paint.
like fabric paint, yeah.
Oh,
And so
my.
it's literally like they crossed off like 2 different
That's
days.
actually really funny.
And so like they kept it, and I'm just like, this is perfect. And then there's another one, I forgot which one it was, but it's something that associated with it. And I was just like, these are the best ones. But yeah, I already have 50 of them. So my goal is to like get as much as I can, and then just have like a little bucket of them for people to like use them.
That's so
because
funny.
I'm always doing weddings. So it's cool little idea.
That is unique.
So if you're going as much weddings like me, then definitely I would say do it. But that's my little thing. And also, when I'm shooting your wedding, please have koozies, because that's how I could. Because I get so upset because like I've done. If I was able to get a koozie, well, I started this back in 2017, so I was 2 years behind. So like there was 2 years that I was doing that. I just didn't even think about it. And then I started collecting them. And then as I got to like my 10th one, I was just like, oh, this is a good idea. I'm going to just do this. And so then it became like a thing where like I started doing it. But there was multiple weddings though from 2017 to now that didn't have it. And I would be so upset because I'd just be like, crap, this is another one that I can't get.
I was going to say, and you're kind of cutting back on the number of dates you're doing out and about.
I am. So
You're just going to show up and just snag a koozie and leave.
But I have to shoot it though. That's the thing. There's rules that I created for myself.
okay.
Like I can't. People
So
can't.
you're honest.
People can't give it to because I had a couple guys that I told them that this is what I do, and they try to give me like 2 or 3 of them, and I'm just like, I can't take them.
I say,
Like I have to shoot it.
if you got a koozie out there, send it to us. We can start compiling a bucket.
Okay, hold on. So here it is. So if you guys have a koozie that you guys are getting married, send it to us. Give us an email. Send us an email. Our email is weddingsmadepperfectpodcast@gmail.com. Or you could just comment on our video or Spotify or whatever. If you guys have a koozie that you guys are willing to part with, that is your guys' wedding's koozie. We will start a bucket right here with your
Wedding
koozies.
koozies.
And
Yes.
we'll have it. And then what we'll do is we'll pick random ones and we'll associate with something. And then eventually when we start compositing more, we'll just start, once we start actually giving out gifts or something, that's the way that we will start giving gifts out.
Yes.
So if you guys have a koozie of some sort, weddingsmadepperfectpodcast@gmail.com. Will be our new thing for Weddings Made Perfect is we'll start a little
Koozie bucket.
We'll start a little koozie bucket. So that's a freaking brilliant idea. So
Okay, next topic, moving along here. Wedding websites. So again, there's a million websites out there that can help you do this. Just to list a few, and kind of the best, I would say. They're not Zola. Squarespace, you can even do it there, and Wix, and Minted. So they're going to have a lot of like templates. So you're not starting from scratch. You can pick a style that you're really comfortable with and then just kind of adjust it to match your colors, your style, your names, your date, all that good stuff. And then what you would include on this website would be your RSVP. You can have people RSVP on your website now, which makes it super quick, super easy. Your date, obviously, how you guys met is a good topic to keep on there. The proposal, a lot of people love to know kind of how you got proposed to, and then the pictures of that proposal, or just a picture of you as a couple, or your engagement pictures as well, and any updates on your wedding. So obviously this has been really useful for the COVID times. If your date gets pushed back or the times are adjusted or anything like that, it's a really easy way to quickly update your guests on any changes. And then the last topic I've kind of got to touch on here, you've already kind of mentioned a few things about this, but I have a few notes on it. Flowers. So on the list I mentioned earlier, they actually included flowers under Do Not DIY. I don't particularly agree with this. I think there are a lot of benefits to definitely using fake florals and doing your own florals for your reception and venue decor, but also for your bouquets. There are obviously some pros and cons to having fake flowers for your bouquets, but there's also some pros and cons of having real flowers. They're going to wilt. You're going to have to be very gentle with them. By the time you've kind of been to all your different places, taking pictures and going from one location to the next, riding on a bus, all that good stuff, like they can get damaged. They're real flowers and they can wilt. Yeah. And so this can be a good idea too. Like you won't have to be gentle with fake flowers. And there are like a lot of guides online to help you kind of create a bouquet for yourself as well. But it's definitely a tricky one too. That might be another one. Like if you're not comfortable with creating it on your own, that might be a good one to leave to the experts too. But a couple tips on this. Consider dyes. Some fake flowers and real flowers have dyes on their petals. And with your white dress, if you keep rubbing it against there, it could like leak the dyes, especially for the men. If they're wearing like a white tuxedo or something and you put the boutonniere on, it can leave a dye on there. So be careful about that. Another little tip is, if you decide to create your own bouquet of real flowers, you're going to be doing this the week of your wedding when you've got a million other things on your mind, because they're so fragile and you want them to be as fresh as possible. So this is just going to be another thing you're adding to your plate that week of, if you decide to create your own real flower bouquet.
Understand the difference between what could be craftable and what could be a service. And DIY could be an awesome thing, but definitely don't use it as a clutch of some sort, meaning like it is a very cool way to make some cool crafts for your wedding day, or to reduce the amount of cost that is happening on that day, instead of having to buy a service on something that involves that type of whatever you're trying to do. So once again, if you are not wanting to do DIY at all and just completely scratch it, then of course, yeah, you get a decorating decor wedding service where there's many of them that will do like all your tables, all your uplighting, all your centerpieces, all of that. But the only problem is it's very unified and very just, you could tell when it's a service wedding that does decoration, or a wedding that is done by a DIY, or somebody that that does more creative, like craft things. It gives it more of a personalized thing. And so I'm just letting you know that like there is a difference, and I'm showing you there is a balance of a difference. So once again, craftable things. So table runners, flowers, even. You could get fake ones from Michael's and Hobby Lobby. Literally any decor you could think of. The arch for the ceremony, the mason jars for your thing, for your flowers, or wine bottles, or corks that you'd use for whatever. Like there are different things you could do. Recently, I've been seeing bottle caps from beers. Like you use that for, a certain thing, for whatever you want to do. Like it's literally, you could use different things that you use on a day-to-day thing that will personalize who you are as a person. So I would definitely advise you to do as much as you can, but at the same time that there are things you're going to need a service for, which is fine. It's just, that's what it is. But yeah, we wanted to make it a little bit easier for you guys for different DIY things. With that being said, though, we're going to end this podcast. You can definitely follow us on Facebook or Instagram. We're on YouTube, so definitely check us out. Just type in Weddings Made Perfect Podcast. You'll see our logo. We're there. If you have any suggestions for an upcoming episode, or just want to say hi, or want to be a spotlight, or give us a koozie for an awesome bucket that we're going to be getting soon, we would love that. Weddings Made Perfect Podcast at gmail.com is a way to get a hold of us. You could just type in, say, hey, Ty, this is what's going on, or hey, Gabby, whichever one you want to do is perfect for us. But like I said, guys, thank you so much. This is episode 10. Like we said, we have 6 months worth of content. I'm sure our audience will grow even more for the next 2 months. So I'm excited to see what our thing has for us. But once again, guys, my name is Ty, and I have Gabby here with me, and we're signing out.